All right, we rolling. Freedom Phil, live from not in the wasteland, actually back in the city. Went shopping, and I picked up my mail. And this is another great example of why in a society full of fucking idiots, nincompoops, fuck-ups, whatever word you want to use, you can't trust your business to the people that are doing business anymore. And it's one more reason not to do business with a lot of people. Where am I going with this? I'll explain. Freedom Phil, like, subscribe. Let's get into it. And hey, turn up the video speed. Why do I always say that? Because you watch videos faster. Like, for instance, when I upload this, you should be watching at 1.75. Videos faster. Let's get into this. So I go into town, a lot of traffic, a lot of construction. My usual laundromat is blocked off, the one that's incredibly cheap, which I love. You can do a wash and a load for $3. No, they're closed. Completely closed. You can't get to them, so I had to park somewhere else and walk over there. The 24-hour laundromat is closed. Great. Fucking great. But I was like, hey, let's go get the mail. And I was hoping to get some particular information from a particular company that I had taken the time to change my address on so they could send it to the right place and not bother my previous post office box. My Northern Command, post office box. And I got this little deal there, and I looked at it. I'm like, oh, okay. This must be it. And as I open it, I look at it, and it says, we acknowledge that you have changed your address. Then why the fuck did you send it to the old address first so they could have to process it again? How are you this fucking retarded? We acknowledge you changed your address, yet we sent the information to the old address. Well, you're supposed to send it to the new address because you acknowledge you changed the fucking address. Maybe that's to make sure it wasn't fraud. Okay, I can kind of acknowledge that. There's so many things in society these days that it's a reminder of why exactly I really prefer to be a wastelander or a trucker, as little contact with unnecessary bits of society. Like, for instance, I got my water bill, 2 different water bills, same place, and I watch $130 a month go to water I never fucking drink. I get water for free down here in the desert. My life is way fucking easier in a van than it is living in my house. I hate living in my house, to be honest, and someday when the market's right, or when I just get finally fucking fed up with it, I'll take the remodeled house that I have and sell it. Because I want one less tether of motherfuckers in my life, basically trying to puppeteer me. And they're like, well, what's the big deal about $130? I don't eat $130 in food a month. Do you understand that? Like, the basic utilities, the basic cost, and all the interest fees they try to put on everything. I avoid these interest fees on a regular basis. I don't do credit. I try to keep my life as laid back, as simple as possible. And I stick by this when I've said it, and I've actually told it to a family member that recommended I bought the house years ago. I said, if I could go back and change anything about my life, I would have never bought that fucking house. People think, oh, at the time, you think, oh, well, that's a good investment. You need a house. No, I don't. No, I really fucking don't. I don't need a house. All I need is a vehicle, like whether it's a van or an RV or a semi-truck with a sleeper. And the rest of the money I can take and throw it into investments. A house, in my opinion, or property in general, is just one more thing tethering you to some bullshit that you may or may not want to deal with. I'm not an unreasonable man. I just want less of society stuffing their fucking fingers or that jagged thumb up my ass trying to puppeteer me. The world, in my opinion, is basically made not for the weak, even though we try to save them as much as possible. Definitely not for the strong. Oh, if you all had to have realistic standards, like we weren't coming to save you every fucking day. Like, oh my God, do you know there's someone starving out there? How in America? How much food stamps, or EBT as it's called these days? How many food banks? How are you fucking this up? Oh, we have poor children. Here's some Section 8. Here's some free utilities. Here's some free... Literally, the weak among us are elevated to the middle class. No, our society is basically made to keep mediocre people from rioting, from ever waking up one day and saying, hey, I'm sick of this shit. And doing their little dipshit performance dance of look at my car, look at my stuff, look at these things. And then they get old and like, why can't I retire? I have tried to slowly disconnect myself from as much of these problems as possible. And that inner peace I have out in the wasteland, I have to admit, is kind of fragile. Whether it's the woods or the wasteland, because when I come back, it seems like there's always some stupid shit that I already handled. I already took care of the fucking problem. And yet, there's the problem in my face again. With company, whatever number, whatever association, and not all of them are totally retarded. It seems like the ones that really want my fucking money, they seem to be smart enough to change the address correctly. But the ones that just, I don't know, are you not fired? Are you not held accountable? By the way, this is part of the reason. When I see these mass firings, these mass layoffs at these big companies, I'm like, oh, fucking thank God. I see the bloat, the HR, kind of middle of the road lefty, like, oh, collusion and this and blah. When I see you motherfuckers getting fired and I see them cutting down to just where we're removing the fat, just fucking muscle and bone, sinew, muscle and bone. And then you start having people that really get their job. I like a company like that. I like a company that removes all the fuck ups. They say, and I'm not sure if this is true or not, that fat cells cause cancer. I bet they do. I bet fat cells do cause cancer, diabetes. And I think it's the same way for corporations and government and society. The more bloat you have, the more it costs, the more the problematic is, and the less, okay, and here's the other thing, the more they know that you have no choice but to pay them or deal with them, the worse they get. One particular piece of information that I'm looking to get from them, because it's kind of crucial this time of year. And I fully expected to see that in the mailbox. It was about 2 weeks ago when I talked to them. It should have been here. Is it going to be one of those things where I actually have to physically fucking go to an office, which is about 50 miles north at least, just to get what you should have been easily able to mail me? Yeah, it's amazing. The companies that want to get my money, normally, like there's a lot of competition. Just like I said, it's just like construction to some degree. Like how many of you guys have done a remodel? I wouldn't curse a remodel upon my worst enemy. It was a lot of work. It was way too much money. And if I really evaluate it for a second, like think about this for a second. If I had just sold my fucking house back when the rates were about 2% for $150K, and I think I could get $250 to $300K for it now, and I'd save that $80K and all the work I put into it. Just think about the money and time I put into it. Then you think about all the time, if I was still trucking, I'd probably be 600 up in investments. Now put 600,000 times 10%, year after year after year. So it would have been gradually growing. How much better off would I be than participating in society, being a good, normal person? how much better off would I be? Yeah. I'm not surprised when I see the youth of this modern age checking out. The whole, you got to have a house. You got to have this sort of lifestyle. That was easy for the boomers to do because things were fucking cheap back then. Luxuries were expensive. Like there's a reason people were driving like a Ford Fairmont back in the day or a Fiesta because you couldn't afford that sports car. But you could afford the basic things of life. Houses were vastly cheaper. Yeah, sorry, boomers. There's the truth. Houses were vastly cheaper, even though the interest rates at times were kind of ridiculous. But it was something that where if you did the minimalism thing and lived super cheap for a short time, you could actually save up your money and pay cash for the most essential things. Now, the most essential things, luxuries are cheap. TVs, video games, if you buy them used. Entertainment is cheap. Essentials are ridiculously expensive. And they wonder, surprise, why a lot of these kids are just noping out. Now I'm 45 years old. I ain't old, but I ain't no spring chicken. I ain't young either. And I can tell you, if I had done what I'm doing now in my late teens, early 20s, oh yeah, the analogy on the whole remodel thing is the prima donna factor of the people who are plumbers, electricians, and all this. There's not enough of them. For every three boomers or Gen Xers that leave, we get one tradesman back. So that now they're all like, well, if I feel like working on this project, a cornered market, artificially cornered. They purposely make it hard, even if you have the skills to go out there. You have to be someone's monkey for X amount of years in the trades. As where if I want to get a drywaller or a framer, it's amazing how these ones that don't have all this massive protection, they just have to pass code. It's amazing how I can find dozens of people ready to work. If I want a landscaper, I want someone to do insulation, I want someone to do windows, there's a lot of people that are ready to fucking work. Competition, man. But yeah, when you make the most basic things a pain in the ass, and it'd be one thing, I don't think what I'm asking from society is some great, vast, oh God, that's so out of reach. I'm asking for the people who I do business with to be remotely competent. Like they were in the 90s and the early 2000s. Now you're all fucking incompetent and you're still employed. That's why, like a lot of things, I'm a minimalist. Because it's just one more group of people. At this point, they're probably fighting over who gets to shove their hand up my ass and put the jagged fucking thumbnail into the, stab it into the prostate. You like that? No. Every time I get rid of one of these economic and psychological, spiritual fucking leeches, I pull one of these parasites out of my life, I feel that much better. Every fucking time. And I got to be honest, I am not a hard person to please. All I expect is basic competence, and the system works when I need it to work. Well, I turn it on, and I do this and that, and bada bing, bada boom. Just like it used to. Now, I would argue there is no fucking reason for the average young person, or any person for that matter, to participate in a broken system if they can't even get the most basic shit right. Anyhow, I'm going to go see if the other laundromat is functional. Honestly, I got to be real about this. I actually enjoy doing my laundry at the river more than I enjoy dealing with it in the city. At the river? Yeah, because it's really not that complicated to wash out your clothes. It's not. And I think to myself, what does it say about society when the most basic things are now fucking so annoying that I would much rather just go back to nature? I'm not some off-grid primitivist. I'm not. But the reality is that when doing things off grid by myself works better, more consistently than dealing with the so-called functioning systems of society, well, you'd be an idiot not to go back to something that works. Freedom Phil, like and subscribe.